Boat time.
Boat time.
Boat time.
Welcome back, guys. We've had, like I said, some hang-ups, but we're fighting them and we're winning the fight. Today, we have a big step, our first custom piece. Shout out to my buddy Zach for helping me machine the timing cover, which we now have. Let me grab that real quick. Boom! Look at that. All right, so as you can see, we now have the old timing cover, but now it has the new rubber gasket instead of a felt one. Now, I did this because, well, felt sucks, but also on the back they did that. They actually, on the back of the engine here, in an earlier video I showed you this, but they sold a new rear main seal instead of a felt one, it was a rubber one. That's a great idea, I thought, so why not do it for the front? But now nobody.
Matching gaskets on the front and the rear.
Yeah, I've been waiting to do this, but
I've been waiting since we took the oil pan off to see if this will go back on.
If we can get this on and it seats and bolts down and everything's good and dandy, we can put the oil pan on. If we didn't do what we did with this, then we would have had to go on with a felt ring or do some crazy modification stuff. I'm glad this worked out. Let me tell you a little bit about exactly what they did. They actually strapped this to a CNC machine, and there was 2 rings in here before, which the felt sat in between, and they just machined this out, this whole thing out, nice and smooth, so that we could, to the correct diameter, to fit this gasket, which was in this newer timing cover that doesn't have the water pump hole. We just took the gasket right out of here. As you can see, it's machined exactly the same way. It's almost the exact same cover, but to reduce any risk of anything not lining up, I said, okay, I want to use the old cover instead of machining like a new water pump hole, and try to machine this out, and it worked out perfectly. So, without further ado, let's get down on the frame and stick this bad boy on. Moment of truth. You guys getting that? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that. There it is, guys. It is sealed perfectly now around the crankshaft, and we can still use our water pump. All of this aligns, all the bolt holes align because we use the old part. That's perfect. Hopefully that doesn't give us any problems. What an upgrade. And guys, this was under $100 at my local machine shop, so not bad. You know, obviously prices vary, but thank you, Zach. So
The double finger points, dude? Are you kidding me? Look at that. That's what you come here for, guys.
you come here for double finger points and, you know, Small Talk Podcast.
Oh, and Octane Society.
And Octane Society. That thing's dead, but
No, it's
cool
not.
concept.
It will live in our hearts forever.
It's actually, yeah, it's matter. It cannot be created or destroyed. It never started, but it will never die. All right, so now what we're gonna do is flip this thing around. We're gonna make sure we can seal this bad Larry on there good and tight. Whoops.
As you pull the crank.
Oh, she's on there tight. All right, I got it. Anyway, we'll get that in a second. We're gonna flip this over, install this, and then it's gonna be the oil pan. And then the rest of it is just pretty much accessories.
Well, that's the bottom end done.
That's the bottom end.
Yeah,
It's sealed. We can put oil in it and she'll, well, we gotta put the oil.
It'll immediately pour out if we do.
Well,
but
yeah,
we can put it in there.
We can put oil in it, but we just gotta put the oil cooler on. I also, real quick, want to do a shout out to our first patron, the Flash Jacks. Thank you so much for supporting the channel.
Yes.
You'll forever be our first patron, and we appreciate that. And if you haven't checked out Smallest Talk Podcast, go do that real quick. We actually did a whole episode on just how Down to the Frame happened, its roots, which actually stretch farther past the actual YouTube channel, and back to when we were building a 2005 Subaru STI. So go check out that podcast, find out where we started. Okay, we're gonna just clean the mounting surface. We're gonna do a bead of gasket maker, RTV, around the perimeter, put the gasket they gave us, and then do another bead on the cover. Bam, so it's like a nice sandwich. RTV, gasket, RTV. Prepping makes the dream work. Think of toothpaste.
You've seen this problem before. How did we solve it? Like where the body attaches to the frame.
Go on without a fight.
I need to buy a mallet.
A what?
A mallet.
Good amount of RTV on there. Hopefully
Ain't no such thing as too much RTV. Oh man, I don't know what to torque these to.
In these situations, you read the manual. Read the manual. Read the manual. In case you don't know how to read the manual, you go to the table of contents. You find exactly the general information that you're looking for. You flip to that page. You use your English or other language and find the information you are looking for.
There also might be an index. You can use that too.
In case you're wondering why I'm out of breath, we just ran around and shot that. I really was just walking. I need to get to the gym. Actually, in the back of the book, there's actually some specs and stuff. Like, look at this. We got plug gap, idle RPM, all sorts of stuff, all listed by engine.
That is some knowledge.
That's knowledge, dude. Tune-up adjustments. Oh, dwell. I haven't heard that word since paintball. Probably because I haven't read enough manuals. All right. So what we're looking for is a torque speccey on that front piece there. Timing chain service seems promising. 3-41. Okay, that's our girl right there.
There she is. Cut to that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's like pointing and he's like, oh, that's me. Good one.
He's like that?
Yeah.
That's our cam cover. Screws, tighten all of the cover, attaching screws to a torque value of 80 inch-pound. Do you have an inch-pounder?
I do.
80 inch-pounds. Tighten to 80 inch-pounds! 80.4 inch-pounds. Crank on, please. German engineering. So what Jake's doing is just going around with a standard ratchet, making sure they're all seated and, you know, not 100% tight, but just, you know, tight enough in there that we know it's under 80 inch-pounds. And then we'll go back through with torque wrench and tighten them all up. Good?
Yes, sir.
Holy bananas, sir.
We're doing it, Mom.
And out of a crazy stroke of luck, the boys finally get to put the oil pan on. Look at this transition, ready?
Oh. You can really see the strain in your hands.
Dude. Please hold up. I hate this stuff. Like, I wish they made everything like thread on.
Just like rotating the entire oil pan onto the...
Or like groove, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's just flat
An
surfaces.
O-ring, yeah.
Yeah, like they just, like why can't you just put an O-ring here?
This piece of paper will do fine.
The 70s are like, how do we seal this? Have you heard of paper? Have our like nameplate on it. You're like down to the frame. Somebody finds
Down
it
to the bottom of the lake.
Somebody finds it in 10 years at the bottom of Winnie and they're like, what the?
So you don't have to put it on the valve cover gasket. That's cork. I trust that enough to not leak.
Mm-hmm. Cork.
It's better than paper.
When, you know it's bad when the one material like, that should hold is cork.
It's better than paper, dude.
Definitely is.
I trust it 100 times better than paper.
I think we're gonna use this tube for the first time. I've had this for like since the STI days. I think.
We're gonna tie back to the podcast.
Oh, I think that's good. Hear ye, worth thou oil pan gasket. Here it is. Now we're gonna put the oil pan gasket down. I don't know what side it goes on. Yeah, probably right there. Line it up with the bolt holes. Do another layer of RTV on this. Does that feel good? Yes. Make sure she's on me.
Hot. She's armed. Oh, good lord. Gotta blur that, dude.
NSFW. NSFWW.
Got it, Poppy.
Wow, Jake. Congratulations. Undoing what we did almost for the better part of a year ago.
Yeah.
So oil pans on, we just got to torque those all down. Read the manual. So what we're going to do is torque down all of the oil pan bolts, but we were unable to find the specific torque specs for this, but we're going to end up, what we saw is typical oil pans get torqued down from a range of 7 foot-pounds to about 22 foot-pounds. So we're going to split the difference. We're going to go about 14, 15 foot-pounds. So you know what I was thinking? This is probably steel, huh? Steel. I think we should do it to 22. Steel's a lot harder.
It's not like gonna break it.
Correction, we're gonna go to a 22 because this is actually a steel oil pan and the specs I looked up was for aluminum. Hold a little bit more pressure. Sloppy.
I think that one might have, because this is aluminum.
Yeah, did strip it?
Yeah.
22 is too high on the
For
aluminums.
those two, anyway. Probably not do that on these ones. I didn't think about the fact that that was aluminum.
Neither did I. Lesson learned, 22 foot-pounds is too much in the aluminum ends. And yeah, these bolts just rip the threads out of the rear main seal. So we're gonna have to either get an oversized bolt or tap and spiral that one. But I think it'll be fine because all the rest of them we now know will be okay. Anytime we're using torque specs on the aluminum, we're not gonna do 22. We're probably gonna do half that at 10. On my error. If we had stuck with 15, we would have saved ourselves here. So now that the oil pan is on, we're gonna assemble the exhaust manifold. Now, if you remember, Jake and I cleaned this up with a brush wheel. I was considering getting it planed so that's really flat, but this gasket's actually pretty thick, and I think it's gonna be able to compensate with a lot of the surface differential. So, this is iron, so we'll be able to really torque this down. But as you can see, there's still a bunch of crud on here, so we're gonna take this out pasture and clean her up with the grinding wheel. All right, so we are having a bit of a moral quarrel here with this. It's obviously very corroded. Now, ideally, you would replace that or machine it, maybe machine a mil or two off, I don't know, a couple thousandths of an inch. Huh?
Or make a whole new part.
Right. And then we could clean that all up. But I think because this is the exhaust manifold and we're gonna have this thing running with water before we even get it on the boat, I think we're gonna test it and see if it fails.
Right.
Because that gasket's pretty thick.
Yeah, it's a thick boy.
Yeah.
Thick boy.
Watch it was.
We're pivoting.
When stuff doesn't go your way and you don't want to think about it, do something else.
Plenty of other stuff to do. We have the whole pile right there.
I think that's the right one, yeah?
Looks like it.
Yes.
No. I think we're missing a piece here.
Yeah, something couples between the two of those.
We need the coupling device.
The tech tip of the day, guys. Label your stuff.
What do you mean? I love wasting time. Look at their heaps of BS. So this is like a rubber coupling that we believe mounts in this piece right here. Then you attach the water pump, and this is actually what spins the water pump, which is kind of cool. I never would have thought that it would have been like this weird rubber piece, but this unfortunately is pretty beat up. So that's something I'm gonna have to order because I don't think I have a new one.
We're pivoting again back to the exhaust manifold.
There's so many little pieces that you're just like, oh, that needs replacing, and we didn't know that even existed. And then anytime we have to order something, it's like it's not standard, so we have to order it from some rando website, and it takes a week to get here, week plus. All right, let's try to put on the pivot.
I think we have enough for the oil cooler.
All right, we're gonna put this on. I just gotta find a nut for it.
A nut?
Was it this?
Right? A nut? I mean, yeah.
Inch and an eighth.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys, so we got the crank, whatever that is. And then we put the oil cooler with the oil filter on. We're trying to get the alternator on. It's been a bit of a rush day. Over here, we didn't really add much to it, but starting to be an engine again after almost a year of sitting here. Looking good. That's it for today. We got a couple things we need to get, which is, I'll show you that. We need to get the rubber piece that goes in here and couples the cam to the water pump. We need to get a belt. We need to get spark plugs.
Mm-hmm. What else do we
Belt,
need?
spark plugs, coupler.
Oh, the coil. Are we gonna do that on the oil pan?
Oh yeah, we gotta get the
coil?
tap and die because we messed up a bolt. And then we have to get the rebuild kits for the carburetors, which that'll be pretty hopefully straightforward. No one knows anything. and then we're pretty much good. But as you can see, guys, oil pan's on for the first time since we've torn this thing apart.
For the first time in forever.
Oh yeah, that's Mason over there, guys. We're there.
Yeah, the dipstick is in.
The dipstick.
Look,
oh yeah.
The dipstick is in.
That's how you know that the oil system's pretty much all sealed off.
Good, just ready for the water.
Yeah, pretty much just water. Jake actually checked the starter. That works. The alternator sounds smooth. Intake manifold is clean. We just got to clean up the carbs. Dude, we're, this coil's a little bit old looking, but, it might work. So we're not going to buy a new one yet because that stuff can add up. And that's all stuff that's going to be on the outside of the engine that we can get to easily. What's kind of intimidating are all the coolant hoses that I'm going to have to hook up. Honestly, might just tap and die those out and put AN fittings and AN fitting line and everything.
Oh, dude, that would be so expensive. And fittings are so expensive.
Yeah, but if we can't get the copper to work, it might be our only option. Coming together, and we gotta get the fuel system together as well. So, if we end up having any leaks on here, which we really RTV'd everything pretty well. Some would say too much, but...
The plan is that we're able to run it outside the boat before we put it in. So hopefully we'll be able to run it, see if there's any leaks while we're still here.
Yep.
Address those before we...
Put it in the boat.
We're gonna have to figure out how to mount it.
Yeah.
That's a whole thing. Stay tuned for that.
Yeah, stay tuned for that. I mean, guys, that's going to be... We still have an entire boat to rebuild, but good news. We ordered a garage, basically. It's a home. It's the first down to the frame headquarters. It's from Shelter Logic, and we're going to be setting that up when we get it. I ordered it 10 days ago, so they said it's a 21-day turnaround time. I know you guys want more boat content, but once we get that tent, literally it's just our time that's the limit, because here in New England, the weather, if you don't have a place to work in, you can't get past it. So I want to say thank you again to Flash Jacks for being our first patron, and don't forget to follow our Instagram, guys. I mostly post like little home renovation stuff as well as any small updates that obviously don't warrant a whole video. Follow us there, follow Smalls Talk Podcast, and we'll see you guys next time on Down the Frame.